All right, welcome into the Cyclone Fanatics halftime show. Matt Van Winkle, Chris Williams, Bret Meyer. Hopefully, will be joining us here shortly.
We need the quarterback.
We need
Bad.
the quarter. Yeah, we need him. We need that was on the top of my list is to get Bret's thoughts on the quarterback play. But Iowa State trails 21-10 at halftime. Chris, not the half that I think any of us expected. No Iowa State fan expected. Really, some sloppy play I think from both teams, but especially from the quarterback, Brock Purdy. 6 of 12, 56 yards and 3 interceptions in the first half. I mean, that's where we got to start, right?
Yeah. I don't know about y'all who are watching. I actually feel really fortunate to be down 21-10 right now, to be honest with you. It didn't feel like Iowa State should be in a 2-score game at this point. Not just Purdy. I mean, that's probably the worst half Purdy's ever played in an Iowa State. Maybe Oklahoma State last year would be right up there with it, but they weren't. They were bad. It wasn't just him. I don't know, and we'll get Bret Meyer. We'll bring Bret in here. A lot of bad snaps that I think threw his timing off. It looked like to me, in everything just out of sync. Even on defense, Baylor averaging 17.5 yards per completion. They have not hit Charlie Brewer. Charlie Brewer was sacked 5 times last week against TCU. He's barely been touched today. So there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made, and we'll bring Bret in here real quick. Want to thank our sponsors. Fairway actually made some sweet pork spare ribs. You can check it out. I tweeted about it earlier. Matt, nice. You should have come over. They're phenomenal. Nice. That I got from Fairway earlier today. Centurion Stone of Iowa, and of course our friends at Nebraska Furniture Mart in Clive. But Bret, what are you seeing from the quarterback out there? Brock Purdy doesn't look like himself tonight.
Yeah, he's off for sure. I think he had a tough start to the game. 3 interceptions, 6 to 12, 56 yards. I think teams are doing what Baylor's. Dave Arnott is a great coach. He's played some high level defense at Wisconsin and LSU, and it's not hard. You just find what teams struggle and you do it. And if you do it well, you're gonna cause the timing to be off. And as you said, we've had some snaps that have been errant, but all 3 interceptions basically have been on the quarterback, which with Brock we usually don't see that. So yeah, it's something we got to get corrected. But it's a 2-score game, and I think we're lucky to only be down 11. It could be a lot worse. So defense needs to come out, get him off the field on 3rd down, and hopefully we can be better on offense.
Yeah, it's tough that Baylor's going to get the ball to start the second half too. That doesn't help much. But Chris, another thing I noticed there, at least especially in the first quarter, I thought the offensive line was getting some pretty good push. Brees was getting some space. It's really slowed down in that second quarter though. It was. He was having a hard time getting through at all, creating any space. What did you see from Brees Hall in that first half?
Brees did what he does. He was really good. He only averaged 3.8 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I just, my thing too with him is I just feel like Iowa State's so much better when they're running downhill. Yeah. And I don't know, like the timing's all off today. And when you start to try and run RPO stuff and like when your timing's off, it gets really – that's what I've seen when they haven't been successful running the football. When they have been, it's, Brees gets a head start and he's like a train going down the hill. I'm a little – I'd like to pick Bret's brain – here on specifically this man look. I don't know, Bret. It's easier when you can go back and watch the tape to really break it down. But it seems to me like Purdy has troubles against a specific style of defense, specifically when these man coverages. And this is where I'm concerned. I think a lot of Iowa State fans want me to make them feel better here. I think they have Iowa State scouted really well. Iowa State didn't play well, but I think the coverages that Dave Aranda is showing, I'm a little bit terrified.
Yeah, the intercept. Yeah, go ahead, Bret.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's anything that's extremely complicated, right?
No,
I mean,
they got the athletes to do what they're trying to do.
what they want to do, and Arnaud's got really good scheme. Like he knows exactly. He knows. I mean, he's not going to reinvent the wheel. It's not like our defense. It's a unique. It's just that he knows how to coach it. And we have receivers that struggle getting open against good corners, against athletic corners that are going to get their hands on them at the line of scrimmage. And we have an elite running game with one of the best running backs in the country. So, yeah, they're going to load up and try to stop the run and make us, disrupt our timing. And we're not one of those teams that's going to spread it out 5 wide and have some crazy scheme like, some of the spread teams or the air raid teams that just get guys open no matter what. That's not our offense. So, I don't think it's just on Brock. And obviously this first half, he's got to be better. No. But, the throw to Chase Allen, if he hits him in the chest as opposed to being outside, it's a first down, and we're in business, right? We're probably in the, I don't know how close we were to the red zone, but there's chances out there. We just have to be better.
Now, I will say this. The one good thing, we have seen Purdy bounce back from stuff like this. Now, I don't know if I would put the Oklahoma State half last year right there with this one as far as him struggling, but I do have faith that he's the type of guy mentally, Bret, that can recover from this at halftime. And the thing too is the snaps.
Yeah.
Colin Newell's been phenomenal all year, but man, I bet you there's been 5 or 6 snaps that Brock almost had to jump. He's one-handed them.
It's kind of weird too, because I've noticed at least this season his snaps have seemed a little bit soft. I mean, they haven't been like they are tonight, but they almost seem soft. I mean, it hasn't been an issue, but tonight's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, the snaps are one of those things where like that's not the reason why we're down by
no
we're down. So it's one of those things that you notice it, and yeah, it's going to throw your timing off, but we haven't got close to any turnovers, and it's just one of those things that if anybody mentions it at halftime, it's going to be like, shut up, it doesn't matter. Deal with the snaps. As long as it's not, again, if you get close to a turnover, maybe it's something you mentioned in the center, but in that situation, it's almost like you're dealing with a kicker or somebody. You want to get in their head and make them start thinking about it, and then you really have issues. So
here's a good – all right, people want some optimism for the second half. Baylor only averaging 2.9 yards per carry running the football, so they're not having a lot of success there. Playing with a lead, you think they're going to try and run the ball a little bit more. I do feel like we've seen this pattern just a little bit, Bret, with John Haycock getting more aggressive as the game goes on. He's got to get more aggressive, right? I'm surprised. I thought Iowa State would blitz a little more in the first half, given Baylor's problem with the offensive line so far this year. But honestly, I feel like Brock and the offense will get theirs at some point. I'm concerned about how soft the middle of that coverage has been, though, so far for Iowa State. Just the inability to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the 2 touchdowns, and I know red zone's different, but it was over the middle. You look at the big play they had on 3rd down over the middle. We've had 2 big plays where they got behind our secondary, one after the first interception, and then again where Brewer missed a wide open receiver that would have been a touchdown that got behind the defense. So that may cause Heacock to be maybe a little more conservative on bringing pressures if we're not seeing things or communicating in the secondary. But yeah, I mean, we gotta. This is going to be a game where we're going to need to get another turnover or just create some havoc on defense, get it behind the chains, because we're going to need more possession to score, because offensively we're just not in a rhythm.
Chris, what do you think? What do you think offensively is going to be the key? Obviously, you want to see better play from Brock, but do you think they try and hit the ground a little bit harder with Brees, or what do you think the plan is going to be?
I think that they need. I actually liked what they were doing there at the end of the first half. They got the tight ends more involved. It looked like they were less reliant on the wide receivers, and they were trying to get Kohler going. But yeah, I mean, Matt, I think you got, in my opinion, the top 3 running back in college football.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you get down 2 scores going into the 3rd quarter, it's just hard to rely on your running game to bring you back. So Brock's got to be better. And I just wonder too, Bret. Milton's out. A lot of young guys. Hutchinson doesn't have a catch today. I'm just starting to wonder when I watch the film and I go back, and there's just not been a lot of separation this year too. I don't think Iowa State has bad wide receivers, but when you try and the thing about Baylor, I know they're 1-3, but their scheme's really good, and they have athletes. You know, like this is a team that athletically can match up with just about anybody in the conference. And I'm starting to notice this with Iowa State's wide receivers just a little bit, specifically going back to that Oklahoma State game, right, where there's just not a ton of room right there. So in my opinion, you look to your 3 tight ends, right, and get that train going. I don't know. That's my amateur eye, having not watched the film back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right, but you got to understand that Dave Arnott and Baylor knows that too. So that's their scheme. I mean, what we came out and did against Louisiana in the first week of the season and struggling we had gave everyone the blueprint, and unfortunately, that was the first game of the year. So everyone else can see that, and it's just out there. I think this is the Baylor team. Baylor's going to be better the second half of the year, right? I mean, obviously, the
they're a good team.
Green ball, first year head coach, like. Matt Rule brought in a bunch of good players, smart football players, tough football players. That program's in a good spot. Arnott is a great coach. They're going to be better the second half of the year. They're going to start to learn what they're doing. So that we can't look at them as a 1-3 or whatever team. Like we have to be able to play better in the second half. I think it comes down to, like you said, our receivers being able to do something. They have to do. It doesn't matter who we have on the field. It doesn't matter what we put on tape or what schemes we're seeing. We have to be able to separate and get open and continue. I think we stay with the run. I think we continue, first half, maybe all through the third quarter is continue to push it and see if we can get Brees out on the edge. But they're doing a good job of setting the edge and forcing everything back inside.
I think it'd be big too if you can get Brees involved in the passing game, maybe some screen plays, just mix it up a little bit. I mean, he's so athletic that he can. I mean, when he's getting to the edge, he can beat anybody, right? His athleticism too.
The one thing I did take a note of, and I want him to do more, is Johnny Lang with that pass reception in the first quarter. That was interesting. I know they've been working that into the playbook quite a bit and wanting him to get more involved. So I think you're onto something, Matt. I think they're going to have to do more of that, and they're going to need, like Bret said, a turnover. I mean, and I think that Baylor's going to have to throw the football to move it, and if that's the case, I like Iowa State's chances to force one. So, my closing thoughts, Brett, I feel very fortunate to only be down 11. Iowa State's still right in this football game.
Yeah, I mean, we're fine. I mean, we when you have 3 turnovers and basically all 3 can go for touchdowns, like we don't know where they would be if they don't have those turnovers, if they'd have any points on the board right now. So just don't turn the ball over, because that obviously limits our possessions, and so. Yeah, take care of the football and get Brees going, and we got to have our receivers step up and make some plays. We can't just rely on our tight ends.
It's so obvious that Brett's been in the locker room and leading a huddle, and I'm the one panicking here at halftime every week.
Well, unfortunately, we've been a part of a few of these at halftime where things aren't going as you would like. But maybe he's just nervous. He's going to break my touchdown record, and maybe he's nervous. I don't know.
There you go. All right, 21-10. 21-10. Iowa State trails at the half again. We want to thank our sponsors: Fairway Meat and Grocery, Centurion Stone, CenturionStoneofIowa.com, and Nebraska Furniture Mart out in Clive. Chris, you'll have an instant reaction after the game, right?
Yes, I will, and we'll have the post-game report with Coach Campbell's comments and thoughts from the guys. Rob Gray and Jared Stansberry are both at Jack Trice Stadium right now. Thanks for watching.
Yep, appreciate you guys. We'll see you after the game.